hope this sketchy-looking gate is stable. Don't want to come out the other side scrambled.
In this video, I'm gonna talk about Everspace 2. The story is, complicated. Right. Okay. It takes into assumption that you played the previous title, and all of its DLC. If you went for the vanilla experience, tough luck! Your protagonist says hello to faces familiar only to him. If you didn't play the previous title, you're hopping right into the middle of it and you're not getting much of a primer. Allow me to fix that. Your name is Adam. You are one of countless identical clones who spent the previous game trying to escape a post-war space wasteland in search of a safe haven to live out your days in peace. You are one of these Adams in the sequel. You are still inside the wasteland, and you are working a nice steady job until you are not. Because you are a clone, you enjoy fewer rights than the average poor soul who helped in the construction of Dubai, and all your copies have been mercilessly hunted down and killed by the government. Adam is quite simply not allowed to exist. That's the rule. So, what does an unperson do to gain his freedom and the esteemed privilege of living a normal life? Get involved into an epic crisis, of course. There's no way to say space without saying diplomatic incident, or alien threat, or ancient cosmic shenanigans, or any combination of these items. Whatever the problem du jour, you're at the center of it somehow. Every time you think you got a grasp on the situation, bullshit comes in from left field, and now you got even bigger problems to handle. That's the lot of a protagonist. The previous title was a roguelike. You'd keep going until you died, spent points on permanent upgrades, then did it again until you could reliably reach the end. This one is not a roguelike. This one is a free-roam adventure. It's got roughly the same items and equipment, it still has a basic crafting system, but this time you have one single life. If you get blown up, it's over. Reload your checkpoint, try again. Most of the time, your checkpoint is 5 minutes back at the absolute worst. The game even keeps multiple checkpoints. This way, if you somehow load in just a split second before disaster, you can go a bit further back to pick a more favorable moment. I don't know if I did it wrong, but I barely had to craft anything during my entire playthrough. And mind you, it's a hella big playthrough. I'm talking 60 or 70 hours to get to the end of the main storyline, and I made it all the way to 90 in just picking up every little secret container in the world. Most of the time, I could get by just with whatever I found. Enemies drop equipment like crazy. I don't need to craft a new gun when I've got a dozen in my cargo hold just waiting to be dismantled for spare parts. No, see, the thing that's gonna stop you will be the rarities. Each one has a set of parts specific to that rarity. So, if you start swapping in the good stuff a little too early, then it turns out you don't have the materials to upgrade it to keep up with the opposition. No biggie, you can always swap in some stuff of your current level, even if it's lower rarity. It depends on whether or not you're married to your equipment. Mileage is gonna vary. My advice, don't get too attached until you're near the end game. In the same token, buying anything is almost meaningless since you can find everything you need in the wild. The funny part is that not having any shops would have been even weirder, so you gotta have them, it's expected, they need to exist. And even funnier than that, I bought equipment at the shops because this way, I could dismantle them for the parts I needed to upgrade my current equipment. Totally ass backwards, I tell you. That's the problem with leveling systems. They became the easiest way to denote progression when the end result is just you getting a raise so you can keep up with inflation. You don't have the power to take on the next mission, go over there and farm some more. You can kind of get it done by proxy while you do the side missions and the challenges, so it's not like you're doing the Korean grind. But the whole situation is like a return to office order. No amount of free coffee is going to undo the fact that you gotta sit your ass in traffic every morning to go speak to your coworkers on Microsoft Teams. All it does is make the whole thing into a mild annoyance instead of a deal breaker. The coffee smooths things over, but it's still not as good as never having had the situation in the first place. I know I sound like I'm coming out of left field with this, and it doesn't mean I'm putting the game on blast for it, or that it's the straw that breaks the camel's back. I'm making the observation here and now because it feels like a good spot to talk about it. It's a widespread phenomenon, and I feel that it's a fake lengthening of the game in just the same token as fake difficulty. The levels don't need to be there. You got the perks, you got the rarities, you got the alternate ships, you got the stat boosters, and you got the device upgrades. That's all the progress you need. The levels, they're just here because everybody else is doing it. Like restaurant dishes being topped by chopped scallions, no matter what the dish actually is. I've seen chopped scallions on top of poutine. Fuck my life. Without the equipment levels, there could have been progress in the form of the little secret containers strewn around every system. I didn't realize this was a thing that could have been improved on until I wrote my script for Tainted Grail and I realized, hold on, that part could have been much better than this. I got something to compare against the end of dungeon rewards. Right now it's not great, it's just okay. I get a dopamine hit from having done the puzzle or found the secret thing, and then I break the item apart without a second thought. Waste of a souvenir, if you ask me. You don't notice it too much, though, in practice. You've got places to go and people to see. You've got dialogue to listen to and cool cutscenes to watch. You've also got loading screens to get through because going in and out of hyperspace means you get a loading screen every single time. You need to go through hyperspace just to get from one landmark to another. You can work out the rest of the math from there. The loading screens aren't too long, but they're noticeable. They keep reminding you that they exist. You get a choice of alternate ships if you wanna, but you can do pretty much everything with the starter ship, and it's the one that resembles the ship you flew in the preceding title. Mind you, your ship has levels too, so if you want better stats on it, it's called Gimme the Cash. The upgrades are pretty expensive, but they're pretty meaningful too, so you want to pay attention to that. Upgrading to the higher tier will give you a big stat boost all across the board. I gotta make a comparison with Chorus as well, because that game is playing in roughly the same territory. I remember taking issue with Chorus having a problem with linearity, namely that once you're done with one zone, you have no reason to go back there. Not so here. The story is going to take you everywhere to and fro, and you even get notices whenever the enemies match up to your level, so that even the first solar system still has relevant challenges for you. I also got to compare to the previous installment in one particular way, and its environmental hazards. The predecessor had a bunch of interesting features like electric clouds, black holes, solar flares, all kinds of things that you could potentially work in your favor or avoid, or otherwise made the playing field more interesting for exploration and combat. Some of these still exist to a certain extent, but it feels less pronounced. There are some danger zones during the exploration phases, but when it comes to combat, the most the environment can do for you is get you to take cover behind an asteroid. In fact, when it comes to combat, it basically boils down to brute force winning over most everything. You can dodge the enemy fire and use some devices and consumables and whatnot, but when it comes to the meat and potatoes, you're playing Unreal Tournament in space. Be the first to click on the other ship, and you win. I've got mixed feelings. I had a lot of fun, personally, but I also know that I've got a positive bias in favor of sci-fi. I also know that I came in with some expectations because the predecessor being a space roguelike was pretty novel. How is the successor supposed to replicate the novelty? Is it even possible to do that? The predecessor had been daring in its design choice. The successor feels like it's playing it too safe. The sense of dashing adventure in design is muted, neutered. The one factor that made it attractive was its willingness to do something different, even if it displeases some people. Now I feel like it tries to please everyone, and that's exactly what will displease everyone. In short, this game is My Chemical Romance.